My name is Brian Jarrard, and I'm the community manager at Bungie Studios. We've already got 4 maps out there, and hopefully people are excited about them as we were. They're great maps. They really raised the bar for the Halo 2 gameplay experience. The remaining 5 maps are equally diverse. One of the maps we have is called Gemini. It's a sort of a medium to small arena type map, which is actually based on a map that came out, part of Bungie's Marathon trilogy years back. The original map was called Duality. So this map shares geometry with that map, but obviously has had a substantial graphical overhaul. It's now set up to sort of represent the interior of a Covenant ship. Specifically, it's like the Prophet's personal chamber. It's really dark, really moody. It's got a cool tree in the atrium. It's really great for some running guns, layer action. One of the next maps we have is Backwash. And Backwash is a really interesting map. Graphically, it's unlike anything else we have out there right now. Backwash is loosely inspired by the swamp level from Halo 1, where you actually first encounter a guilty spark and you eventually go on to discover the Flood. Backwash is designed mostly as a Slayer sort of arena-based map as well. What's really cool about it is it's set in the swamp and it has a really ethereal setting to it. It's very foggy. Your field of view is very limited. It kind of has this claustrophobic, intense feel to it. The next map we have coming out is Elongation. And Elongation is another pseudo-port from Halo 1. Fans of Halo 1 remember a map called Longest, which was essentially 2 long corridors with a base at either end. Elongation shares the same basic layout, also been completely overhauled. Now the setting is on an orbital space freighter above Earth. It's a pretty small, intense map, probably ideal for maybe 4 to 6 players. Next map we have is called Terminal, one of the larger and more dynamic maps that we have coming out. Been described by some of the design team as sort of Zanzibar Plus. It's more or less asymmetrical. There's a base on one side, a kind of a garage base on the other side. Fairly large. The defining aspect of Terminal, though, is it actually has a monorail track that runs through the map. And if you happen to play too close to the tracks, you're going to learn the hard way that those types of impacts can be deadly. Terminal is really a great map. There's tons of nooks and crannies. It is set in the New Mombasa cityscape, so you have skyscrapers and everything you expect to find in the city, from the train station itself to garages to repair bays. A lot of really great vantage points and great weapons to go and hunt for. Another defining point about Terminal is that it was actually built primarily to be a vehicle map. The defensive team starts out with a Wraith right outside their base, and the whole map is sort of built to focus on the vehicle-vehicle encounter. I think you'll find right away that if you don't get the Wraith, your chances of winning are basically nil. The 5th map is called Relic. Relic is essentially one big island, sort of set in the middle of the ocean. It's a big outdoor, wide, expansive environment that has plenty of rocks and things to grab cover on with one central base. The cool thing about Relic is it was primarily designed for sort of the single flag CTF experience. You have a defensive team that starts with a very big sort of fortified base. Offensive team starts on the beach. The cool thing about Relic, though, is literally the flag spawn point and the flag capture point are in very close proximity. From the time you actually start the game, you can see the flag, it's right there. But it actually happens to be way up off the ground. The base is extremely elevated. The only way to get to it is to go all the way back around. So it kind of presents these options where it becomes challenging to get into the base, but once you're in, you throw the flag off the edge, it's just a few steps to scoring. Obviously the maps are the most, what most people are looking forward to on those discs, but there are some additional content as well. We have a documentary featurette that was produced by the same film crew that we had working with us for all the making of Halo 2 stuff that we shipped last year with our limited edition version of the game. The second piece of video content is a brand new cinematic. No, it's not the real ending of the game, as a lot of people have expressed. It's actually a side story cinematic that takes place in the old Mombasa part of the campaign of Halo 2. And it's a parallel series of events that players actually are never exposed to. You actually see the beginning of this in the game and the end of it, but you never quite know what happens in the middle. So our cinematics and animation team decided that would be a really cool story to tell, and that cinematic is on the disc as well. The multiplayer map pack will be on retail stores in the US on June 28th. It's for $19.99. The 5 maps themselves can also be purchased over Xbox Live for $11.99.